Hey everyone, welcome back to Valheim. Today I want to cover a short video explaining a little bit on how to play with your friends, especially if you're now having the Xbox and you want to crossplay or you want to play with friends on PC. All that kind of information I want to be sharing with you today. This is not going to be too complicated. I just want to give you a little bit of information, also a few warnings before you do this. Now, I don't own an Xbox myself, so I cannot show you the layout, how it looks on the Xbox, but in the end it does look just the same. The only difference is you will not have an option for crossplay, and that's the only thing that is different. So anyway, let me show you how this works, and we're going to start with starting the game. So just press the button Start Game. Now, we're not going to show you how to create a character, we'll just use my existing one. That should show you the screen on the left right here, and this is where you find your saved games and worlds. Let me begin by showing you how to host a game, and then I explain afterwards how you can join those games. There are two ways to create a multiplayer session, either a dedicated server or hosting the game yourself. For a dedicated server, you can decide to hire one from a provider or create your own server with a spare PC you have laying around. But it's probably better to keep this for a separate guide someday. So let us focus on how to host a game for you and your friends. Take note that if you host the game, you are the owner of the game. This means you will have to be online and in-game for others to be able to play in that world. As soon as you end your session and leave the world, others will also be disconnected after a while. It is good to know that everything done after the host leaves will no longer be saved. Therefore, having a dedicated server is preferable, as it allows other players to keep playing even when you're not around. Now, how do you host a game? Now, if you're totally new to this, you should not have any worlds on your list right now, and you will have to start a new world. But if you already have a few worlds ready, you can easily use these to have your friends join in as well. But you should be aware that if you have a new player join your existing world, and you already have beat 2 to 3 bosses, the world will be having harder difficulties and rates. This means that it might be very challenging for your new friend to get started. So either you will need to take the time to protect them for a while until they are set up, or probably better is to start a completely new world where the enemies are a little bit more mellow and less dangerous. If you want to start a new world, it is pretty simple. You just press this very obvious button here, New. This will open up a window where you can first give your world a name, and below that you can find the seed. The seed is what controls how your world will look like, from terrain generation to locations like dungeons, scripts, bosses, resources, and so on. You can change the code to whatever you feel like, and that will decide how your generated world will look like. Once you have entered that world's name and the seed, you can press Done, and that world will now show up on your list here. Now we are ready to set up our hosting session. You might have noticed 3 options here: Start Server, Community Server, and Crossplay. Now on Xbox I have noticed that there is no option to enable or disable crossplay, and I'm unsure if this is something they will add in the future. That means if you host on Xbox, you automatically are crossplay enabled. But in the end, that doesn't really matter, as you are obliged to add a password to any multiplayer session, and as you only give that to the people you want to play with, there is no problem there. So let us enable the server by clicking this option here. And as you can see, it now lets you know that the password is too short, so you should add it before you can start the session. And then of course we have crossplay, which is currently only an option on PC. I will be adding a simple password for now, which is 123456. Once the password is long enough, the start option will now unlock and you can start a game. The only thing you need to share with your friends is the password and the join code, which I will show you where to find in a second. Before we do that, there is another option here, which is Community Server, which is what will make your game publicly visible. Still, people will need your password if they want to join it, so there's not much difference. Alright, now that we have done all the necessary, we can now start the game. If this is the first time you start this world, the game will take some time to generate it. Next time loading up will go much quicker. Alright, as soon as the game loads up, you will see the join code on top of the screen right there. I'm blanking out my code for now, and I will tell you in a bit why. This is the code you need to share with your friends. If the code disappears, you can press the button to open up your pause menu and the code will show up again. I hope there's gonna be a setting one day where you can hide that option and the code only shows up if you wish to, just to add some extra safety for streamers and creators. If I now share this code with my friends, they will be able to join my game. The only thing they need is to use this code and my set password. Now, if you restart your game, this code will be different. However, this does not mean players who used your previous code need to enter a new one to join you on the next session, and that will become clearer when I show you later what happens. Anyway, now my friends can enter the code and the password and they will be hopping in the game with me. There we go. So now my friend has joined my game and we can play together. They can just go out now and explore and start collecting resources, builds and whatever. There is no need for them to stay close to me. Still, as soon as I end my game, they will lose connection and after a while be kicked out of the world. Until I go live again, enable the server settings and add a password, which will allow them to join me again. Now, before I talk a bit about the details and things you should be aware of when hosting these games, let me show you how you can join someone's game. To join someone, either hosted or a dedicated server, it is pretty simple. You select Start Game, and then you select the character you wish to play with or create a new character, then press Start, and once again you will see the list of available games and worlds. There is, however, another tab which is Join Game. There you will find different tabs for your favorite server, your recent ones, and the last one is Community Server. These are the public servers, both hosted and dedicated, which will show up if you enable that option. Remember the option here where you start a hosted game. If you enable this option and start the game, your hosted game will show up in this list. Still, passwords will be needed, so there's no danger of randoms jumping into your game or you have to make a stupid password. Now, if you either have the IP address or the join code, you can simply go down here and select Add Server. This will open up a window where you can type in either one. So let me enter the code here for my second character, and that will now add that hosted game to my favorite servers. When I now select that server and choose to connect, the game will ask me for the password. Once the password is entered, I will load up the game and join my friend. Now I can show you what happens when your friend decides to quit the game or loses connection to the internet. You can now see in the top left corner the blinking disconnected icon. This might blink for quite some time and you might not notice that straight away. You should be aware that once your host is no longer in the game, all the work that you're doing will no longer be saved. Buildings, storage, terrain, nothing will be kept from the moment the disconnection happened. The only thing that might stay is what's in your character's inventory. Either way, if your friend does not get back quick enough to the game, you will be kicked from it. Now, take notice that when I go back into the servers, you will see that the game and world you played with your friend are still in the favorite tab. It just shows as disconnected. But let us say your friend starts a new multiplayer session and this time perhaps with another friend. And let us say he created a new world for them to play in, but he used the same password. Now, if I press the refresh button down here, you will notice that the game not only shows as active, but it also changes the title of the game. That means if my friend used the same password, I can simply join them as well. There was no need for me to type in a new join code as I already connected with them before. So this is why you want to change your password for each world, just to make sure that you do not have any people joining your game if you prefer to play with another friend for a while. And also why I think it would be nice if there's an option to hide the join code from the screen until I wish to share it myself. Anyway, these are a few things I wanted to share with you today. I hope this was informative, helps you out a little bit on preparing yourself for a multiplayer experience, and I might be making more guides about how to protect yourself a little bit more if you play in multiplayer, especially if you're playing on a public server, that might be necessary. But that is something for next time. Thank you so much for watching, I hope this was helpful and I will see you again next time. Goodbye for now.